If we open the locks, if the locks were open before the river was higher than the lake, then the lake would come into the city and destroy everything. It's science and it's simple math. The levels of the river have to be higher than the lake. And I would like to add.
Please allow her, let her finish what she's saying. Again, let her finish what it is that she's saying. And again, we hear a lot of stuff, and some stuff is just not true. And again, we have to let people know the difference between what folks are talking about in the street that have no clue about what's going on versus the individuals that are actually managing these situations. So please, let's give her the opportunity to finish what it is that she's saying, and she will answer any questions that come up. And I've got a bunch of them for her based on the ones you all have submitted. Go ahead, Commissioner.
And the truth of the matter is, I'm here to explain it to you. So I am here to explain it to you and to bring the facts. Everyone will going to try to make up a story and pass blame, but I am here to tell you what happened and what water reclamation can do. So the locks, they can only be opened. And when they're opened, we're redirecting stormwater into Lake Michigan. That can only happen when the level of the river is higher than the lake. And within the minute, we monitor everything. So and we have a control room, and you're welcome to come out and see. The minute we saw those levels get to there and we were watching and waiting, we opened those locks and redirected stormwater into the lake, which is a decision that we do not take lightly. Now, the 8th Ward, no, nobody dropped the ball. When the levels reached to a particular area, the locks were open and we were on it. Our staff works 24/7 to provide protection to all of Cook County. And the reality is that it was a lot of rain. It was too much rain in a short amount of time. And the reality is that we were able to capture 6 billion gallons of water that could have also ended up in unwanted places. I support all of you. I support everyone in the room. And I have been lobbying along with my commissioners and my staff to increase green infrastructure and gray infrastructure and to improve our local infrastructure for years. And we will continue lobbying for this area and for all of Cook County to make sure that we can improve our infrastructure and increase it. The reality is our local infrastructure needs to be made a priority, and we need to improve it so that the water can get to water reclamation. The reality is that we need more green and gray infrastructure throughout Cook County. Now, one thing that's happening for this area right now is that we do have a phase 2 of the McCook Reservoir being constructed as we speak. When that goes online, you will have a capacity to hold another 3.5 billion gallons of water. So we are actively working to address the situation. And just like I actively supported what happened and I sympathize with everything, because we've all been there before. I've received water in my basement. My staff has received water in their basement. My vice president received water the same time with the same storm you all did. Last year, I was out in Beverly in the 19th Ward explaining to them that we don't choose one community over the other and that the locks had to reach certain levels. So it happens enough for us to understand that climate change is real and that these unpredicted rainstorms are going to keep popping up on us and keep happening. So we have to be prepared. I supported everyone and my board supported everyone so that you could get FEMA funds, and the governor signed the disaster declaration. So I'm hoping that I will have the support not only of everyone at this table, but of everyone in this room when we lobby for green infrastructure projects and projects in your area to help us when the next storm pops up, that we'll be ready. I'm available for any questions you have. I have an open door policy. You can invite me out anywhere and I'll come and talk about what we do and what happened. I'm telling you the truth, the facts, and thank you. I'm available for your questions, but also I have staff here because, of course, if they get too technical, they'll be here to help as well. But thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
The first set of questions for Water Rec will be dealing with the deep tunnel, the capacity of the deep tunnel, and what is the expanded capacity when you all will be completed with your project currently?
The capacity of the deep tunnel, or the capacity of the McCook Reservoir that services you all, is 3.5 billion gallons. When that second phase comes online, it'll be an additional, I want to say 4 billion gallons, but this is where I'm going to let our engineer definitely answer some more of these technical number questions.
Thank you, President Steele. Can you hear me? My name's Catherine O'Connor. I'm the Director of Engineering, and the deep tunnel has a capacity of 2 billion gallons. Phase 1 of the McCook Reservoir is 3.5 billion gallons. And at the end of this decade, we expect to add another 6.5 billion gallons for a total capture in the reservoir of 10 billion gallons and in the deep tunnel, 2 billion gallons.
And as a follow-up to that, how many inches of rain that would fall on the west side should that be able to handle without residents being flooded?
That is an outstanding question. If we had gotten 8 inches of rain over 4 days, we would have been dry. It was the intensity of the event. So that's where we all have to come together. We all have to agree on green infrastructure. We all have to go home today and see if our roof drains are draining into the combined sewer system. We have a pamphlet to show you how to direct that out. We want to support those efforts. Put a rain garden in your backyard. It's going to take every one of us. So it's not that we got 8.5 inches. If that had just rained steady on the field, that would have been fine, but it was the intensity that came in 12 hours. If that had come in 24 hours, that's what we call a 100-year storm event. So this was much more dramatic than a 100-year storm event. And we're all here very empathetic. We all took in water, and we're here to work together.
All right, the next question for MWRD goes back to the locks. Can you explain how, when, and why the locks are open, and what are you attempting to accomplish by opening the locks for the Chicago River?
We're only able to open the locks during a precipitation event to prevent overbank flooding. We cannot open the gates, as President Steele said, and I know there certainly is very emotional doubt about that. Unless the river exceeds the elevation of Lake Michigan will come into the river and come into the city. We have enough storage, and when that crests, we need the relief, and we're reluctant to do it, release that river water into Lake Michigan. Only during very extreme events.
All right, thank you. Those were the gist of the two questions for Water Rec. Everything else is pretty much going to go to the city staff. So let's give them a hand for their information with us here. Next up, we're going to have Rich Guydas, who is the mayor's chief of staff, and he's also the former director of the Office of Emergency Management and Communication, who is basically the city's disaster agency individual. Glad that he is here with us this evening, and I will have him to introduce the balance of the city staff that's with us today.
Thank you, Alderman, and thank you, everybody. On behalf of Mayor Johnson, who will be here later this evening, we want to say we're sorry for the loss that you guys have taken upon particularly the West Side community. We realize the impacts that you have all gone through. And we are here in full force today, ma'am, and for the rest of the audience here today as well. We have Commissioner Chang from the Water Department. We have John Roberson, who works for the mayor as well. He's our chief operating officer. We have Khalil Mohammed from the Office of Emergency Management and Communications. We have BACP commissioner here. We have Street and Sanitation commissioner here as well. We have Lori Lipson, another mayor's appointee here with us today. Jason Lee, our senior advisor to the mayor. Tom Carney from CDOT, and Matt Quinn from the Water Department as well. And if you guys in the audience who are from the city, if you would kindly raise your hand so the people know, please raise your hand, everybody from the city who is here to assist and to help. And I see Kenya Merritt there from the mayor's office as well, so I appreciate her being here. Sarah Matters is here. Hello, Sarah. Sarah is a good person to speak with today as well. We might have some other bits of information that could become useful. What did I want to say? So I think the president from the MWRD kind of summed up the situation as well. Our numbers were coming up anywhere from about 9 inches of rain that just particularly seemed to have hung over the west side of Chicago. We know what the north side received. We know what the south side got. We know what we got downtown. The primary impact, as you all are more than aware, was on the west side of Chicago. We realized that on July 2nd. So just so you know, obviously, typical Chicago weekend, we had a ton of stuff going on in Chicago. Where I was at, where the mayor told me to be, was on the west side of Chicago, monitoring the storm. I was there at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, myself, watching the rain come down as hard as it was. I drove down your streets. I seen the impact that was becoming. When I see something like that, what I do is call up other agencies and other city departments. We bring everybody down to the west side. I had the commissioner out there herself. She had her first deputy out there. She had her managing deputy out there. She had her other district supervisors on the ground trying to mitigate a really terrible situation that you have all gone through. Again, 9 inches of rain in a very short window is going to impact the system to the event in which it did. And I have to tell you, I walked in your basements, I walked down your alleys, and I've seen it myself, and so have everybody else up on this stage here. So we've seen what you're going through. So we have Khalil Mohammed here from the Office of Emergency Management and Communications. He can kind of explain in a little bit more detail how the potential funding resources could be coming available. I can tell you right now, their job at OEMC is to collect the data. So when you call 311, we're monitoring that. We're seeing where all the impacts are throughout the city and seeing where we have to, number one, put our resources, but also identify the most impacted areas. So when we do work with IEMA, when we do go to the state, when we do go to FEMA, we can tell them exactly what happened. We have it all calculated. It's all data driven. And then we have boots on the ground where people like Khalil and other people from OEMC will walk through the community. They will take pictures of what has actually happened and what transpired. And that will all formulate information that is going to open up those funds from FEMA to work its way here to the city of Chicago. So I can tell you this, a lot of hard work has gone into that since July 2nd, since we first received this impact on this catastrophic event. And with that, in spirit of your time, I don't want to take up too much time here at the mic. Alderman, should I pass it over to somebody else? My name's Rich Gaitis. I'm the mayor's chief of staff, ma'am. Rich Gaitis. Thank you. And I'm going to hand it over to the commissioner. Oh, Khalil? Khalil Mohammed from OEMC. We're going to hand it off to you next, sir.
Can everybody hear me? All right, perfect. Good evening, everybody. So as Rich said, my name is Khalil Mohammed. I'm a senior emergency management coordinator from the Office of Emergency Management and Communications. Thank all of you for coming out here. I see some familiar faces from last Thursday and some when we were walking the neighborhood on Friday. So I appreciate everybody coming out. So a couple things I want to go over with people. Number one, if you haven't already reported that you had damage in your basement or floodwaters in your basement, you should have got a flyer when you came in today. It's got a QR. If you didn't, they got it at the tables. Don't worry about it. We got you. We got you. We got you. They got it at the tables. And if they don't have any more, you can listen to this right now. Chicago.gov/OEMC. You can download our app. Okay? There's a thing called Water in the Basement. It's about 19 questions, but it only takes about 5 minutes to complete. You do that, we'll know you were affected. And the good thing about this versus calling in, so number one, you can do it at your own convenience. You ain't got to wait on the phone. You don't got to get frustrated. And you can give us up to 3 pictures of your damage. And you can write like a little narrative. Like if you want to say, hey, my hot water heater was out. My furnace is out. I had to cut out drywall. You can put all that information in there and it's recorded. Okay. You'll get So Chicago.gov/OEMC. Just download the 311 app. Okay. And like I said, there's a flyer. There's flyers out there. We got the QR code on there, make it real easy. So you can just scan it with your phone. Those that are real tech savvy with the camera, and it'll take you straight to the website so you can download it. Okay? So that's the biggest thing we need from you. We need to know you were affected, and we need those pictures. Because when you're talking to people in the federal government, they want data. They want hard facts. And pictures and hard facts help us, for them to say, okay, this is what we can do. These are the programs that these people are eligible for. This is what we can do. So we need that as soon as possible. I can't hear everybody at the same time, okay? And you got those pieces of paper so you can write questions down so you can get questions for me. We're not going nowhere, okay? We're not going nowhere. We'll be here for a minute. Okay? So that's the first thing. As the commissioner said, the good thing for us is today you got the governor to sign that proclamation. I want to give you a little bit more insight on that though. Okay. So that doesn't mean the FEMA money's just flowing today. No. It means, hey, he sent something to the president, and the FEMA staff will review it. They'll keep on talking to us, Cook County and IEMA, and they'll tell us what we are eligible for, what different programs. Because there's FEMA programs, there's SBA programs, there's a lot of different programs. They're using USDA. They did some USDA stuff downstate for farmland. So there's different programs depending on the different circumstances of disaster. So we cleared a big hump today, but I don't want people to get, like the spigot is on, okay? It's not on yet. It's not there yet. So I just want to make sure people understand that, okay? You cleared that big hurdle today with the governors, but we still got some more to go. That's where we need your help with the data, okay? Just to give you, some perspective, we've gotten 13,000 calls so far for water in the basement. So, we know, as the chief of staff said, that there was a big effect on the west side. We've mapped it out. We've ranked it. We kind of know what areas, but we still need that data. You keep on hearing me say this, data, data, data. I'm saying that for a reason, okay? And I'll close out with this. This was truly something that does not happen that often. We did our own analysis of, the different storms. The last time that we had this amount of rain fall and that short of a period, within a 12-hour period, was 87. In 12 hours, within 12 hours, 87. You think about that, okay? Think about, how long ago that was and who was in office at that time, okay? So it's been a long time. This is unprecedented. And like I said, get that, go on the app, make sure you tell us what you can. And one more thing. It gives you options to leave a phone number and an email address. Please put that information out there. I don't want to have just addresses and then we can't send you an email or do a robocall when stuff is available, okay? So put that email address and that phone number in there, a good phone number that works. Preferably something that's like a mobile phone number or something like that, okay? And I'll leave it at that. /OEMC. No problem, sir. And if you just go in the App Store, I'll make it even easier for those that are real tech savvy. The Play Store or the Apple Store is Shy 311. Just type that in the search bar and it'll come up, okay? Thank you. Yes, Shy 311, CHI 311.
Okay, thank you, Khalil. Next, we're going to have Commissioner Andrea Chang. She's the Commissioner of the Water and Sewer Department, and she has some brief information she wants to share as well.
Hi, thank you all so much for coming tonight. I appreciate you coming out and having the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. I want to kind of build on what Commissioner Steele and Khalil have talked about here tonight. What else do we do with this 311 data that you all call in, right? And Commissioner Steele has spoken about a couple of the things I have slides for, and I'm now realizing I don't know if we have anyone to advance slides. Yeah, okay, all right, great. We can go to the next slide. So I will move a little quickly through the first couple of slides because Commissioner Steele really already handled a lot of that. Again, this is a lot of rain, but one interesting way to compare this is that amount of rain, 8 inches, is equivalent to 84 to 96 inches of snow. When we think about 84 to 96 inches of snow, that seems like an unbelievable amount of snow, right? So just for a little comparison. Next slide. And apologies, it's a little bit bright in here, but what you would see is a graph of the rain flowing. We'll skip that one. Next. Next. Yeah, it's a little hard to see. What we're trying to plot there is exactly what Khalil was referring to. When we take that 311 data that people are calling in, we're mapping it. We use that to continue to figure out where should we be replacing sewer mains. Where do we need to update our hydraulic sewer model? We actually do modeling of our sewer system, and it's changing, right? The amount due to climate change, the amount of rainfall we're getting is changing. So we're continually having to update and evolve what the best practices are for our sewer system to keep up. Next slide. Thank you. Yeah. Apologies, it's not showing up. But what it's showing is some of the other events we've had in recent years that don't reach this magnitude, but are getting up there due to climate change. We had one in the north side that was real bad, about a 50 to 100 year storm, we refer to it as, which means a storm that you'd expect to come along about every 50 to 100 years. That was in September of 2022. And then one down the southwest side, that was from July of 2022. But this one, like the Commissioner Steele said, far over 100-year storm, meaning we would expect to see this every 100 years or so. Next. Yeah. So we'll skip this one too because the Commissioner already went through how the Department of Water Management and our infrastructure locally interfaces with the MWRD infrastructure. And this is showing the sort of a sink overflowing, the concept that the flow rate that we got, as Dr. O'Connor said, 8 inches in a week is very different than 8 inches in 12 hours, 24 hours. So it's simply more than any capacity could handle. Next. Okay. So here's some of the stats. This is actually already old. So people are continuing to still call in 311. Which is a good thing, right? So as people are realizing that they need to do that, we're seeing numbers continue to come in. So the numbers are even higher than what we have here, which is over 9,000 at the time we made this slide. You can see how many we're in we're in Ward 28. Significant. And really we want to make sure that people continue to call 311 if they haven't. And we'll talk a little bit here about what we do when we call 311. So in addition to collecting that data, we go out, we contact residents. Again, I definitely have to emphasize what Khalil said about the phone number and the email. Really important. Without that, with just an address, we can come out, we can knock on a door. But if you're not there when we're knocking and if we can't get a hold of you, it's hard to have that communication piece and follow up. But when we're out there, we're checking the sewer mains. So that's going to be the big pipe that runs underneath your street, making sure there's nothing clogged, making sure there's no issues, no collapses. We're also checking the nearby catch basins. So catch basins are those things you see sort of on in the gutter that have the ability to capture the storm flow from the street and send it into the sewer. We're making sure that there's what we call rain blockers in there or vortex restrictors. Those are just slowing down the flow rate of water, because in the end, we'd rather have a little bit of puddling on the street and not have it in your basements, because that's the choice we have to make with some of these extreme storms. So we're checking to make sure that's functioning correctly. We'll also talk to homeowners about our private drain program. A lot of you might have heard about that. Private sewer drain is the part that runs from your home and brings wastewater to the sewer. So it's usually smaller, clay. You might have seen that. So sometimes if those break or they need repair, if it falls within the public side, within the public space, we can often repair that. You know, often if it's a homeowner and they're residential, you often are eligible. So we tend to hand out program flyers. We have some in the back today with some of our staff. DWM staff, would you raise your hands again? Thank you. See folks back there as well to get more information about that. That's another potential reason your basement might back up. But again, emphasizing some of our go home and next steps, disconnect that downspout. We've got a lot of information on that. It's not super difficult, but it makes a big impact for not just your house, but your whole neighborhood. And also, you know, it's very important to make sure that the rain blockers that we have in our catch basins remain. They're doing a really important job. And, you know, we have a water in street call. If you see water on the street that's there for an extended period of time, feel free to call us. But if it's been just a few hours, it's doing its job and it's keeping that water out of your basement. I'm sorry. Is this a little better?
Speak up, number one, and number two. What else you have left?
What was that?
Go ahead. We just trying.
I'm sorry.
We got a lot of questions.
Yeah, we can, that's pretty much the big stuff. This is a diagram of how that downspout disconnection works and can benefit and keep people from flooding in their basement. When it's disconnected, the water from your roof goes off over the sidewalk and into the street instead of into your basement there. You can see that's a picture of it flooding. So we'll stop there. I'll take questions.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. The first question is going to be for Commissioner Stallard from Streets and Sanitation. Come on down. You will not escape all the questions. So as you come down, the question is, what should we do with the stuff in our basements? So I feel that's right for you, Commissioner, Streets and Sanitation.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me speak in front of you. Real simple, put it out. Put it out, we're gonna get it. We have semis out there. We've had semis out since Wednesday. We've taken 270 semi loads of debris, of people's belongings, of wet material, along with, we saw a 17% increase of volume of weight of people's belongings that we took. So we're going to continue that with the blessing of the mayor's office. We're going to continue that cadence until everybody can get rid of their belongings that they don't have. And we were instructed, we have ward superintendents back here that cover the west side. We're working with the alderman's office to get those locations to the point that Khalil and everybody made here, the 311. We're just creating heat maps and we're seeing where we have to focus, but know that we're there for you. Please understand that.
The other question was in relation to citations for putting stuff out. We get a lot of fly dumps, a lot of stuff, and people want to understand, will they be cited for putting all of this stuff out? No.
Nope. We put it out to everybody during this time. There's no citations. This is all flood damage. This is all flood damage. So that's been addressed through the department-wide. No tickets. No tickets. We understand that it's flood damage. We're not going to double the situation, make it worse for you. We're all very aware. I'm sorry?
Hold on. Okay, so it's about, if you got stuff, put it out. Put it out. If you got drywall, whatever it is that's flood damage, please put it out. Please put your things out so we can get through that particular piece. Okay. If you are in need of some assistance, there are a couple of organizations that are helping in that particular point. If you could call our office on tomorrow, we can get that information for you. If somebody is looking for that particular item. Now, again, for those that can't do something, you don't want to go to somebody's house and there's 50 people in the house and you're looking for somebody to help you take some out. So we're looking for the people that are in need, seniors, disabled, people of that nature. So please don't embarrass us by having somebody come out and you got a whole house full of people that can help take this stuff out. So I just want to be honest with you. So we will help you, but if you really need some help, that's the one I'll put on that particular notion. The second question is around the sewer, and one question which may be on somebody's mind is that will this be on our bill? The sewer with the water that all popped up, will this be on our water bill? I'm just being honest. I don't want you on the water bill.
So, y'all hear me? So this is part of our sewer operations, right? Is running the crews that we have doing that work and part of our capital project. So this would not be expected to suddenly change everybody's water and sewer bills.
Okay, thank you for that one. No increased bills behind this particular item. The next question is around sewer cleaning. A lot of residents are asking, with the mud and everything in the sewers, what enhanced work will be done by the department to make sure that the sewers are clean after this event?
Absolutely. That's definitely something that we're really focusing on, making sure that the sewers are cleaned and inspected. So if we find things like collapses or clogs, that we're addressing them. So wave 1 are these 311 calls. Wave 2 are the repairs that are work orders that are put in afterwards. So that's what we'll be working in the coming weeks.
Okay. All right. So again, department will be going through as far as sewer cleaning after this particular event. And the final question around sewers particularly are what upgrades do you have planned for sewers in here on the west side of Chicago? Sewer upgrades for pipes from the street on the west side of Chicago. Sewer upgrades, meaning sewer capacity upgrading.
So, all righty. That is what determines a lot of where we do our sewer upgrades. Because sometimes you might think it's a sewer on your block that could be causing the flooding, but it might not be. It might be one downstream that's actually the pinch point. So that's why we use a model. So we use that to determine what's on the west side, and we're working on some of that right now to figure out what should be our capital replacement for that. Not just for upgrades for size, but also due to age as well.
The next batch of questions are going to be for Khalil and OEMC. Number 1, excuse me, ma'am, that's not going to solve anything. It's not going to solve it. We're trying to get as much as we can to everybody. So again, FEMA, what is the process by which FEMA assistance will take place if it's approved?
So if it takes place, let me go back to the whole process in general. So first, we have the event. So we had the event. We start collecting the data. We send that up to the state, and the state, there we go. And the state makes they start the process of assessing all the damage and everything. So we begin to clean up, and then if they start sending people out, they'll send what they call like adjusters or people to actually inspect. They won't go to everybody's house. They'll take a sampling. We generally, with that data that we just talked about, we'll try to get them to the places that were hardest hit so that we can get the most amount. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So yeah, it's already started. Yeah, Rich just said. So we actually, some people from OEMC were out last week. We were actually in some people's homes taking pictures and things of that nature. We had people, as the chief of staff mentioned, out on the first day when the actual flooding was, taking picture of more of like infrastructure, not in terms of people's houses, but the public infrastructure and how it was flooded and all that other stuff. So That's the process. So once we get the declaration and they say, okay, you're eligible for this, they'll look at our data and they'll start going to certain places and open up a center where people can apply, and you'll deal with them directly. They'll have people here on the ground that you can deal with directly. I see your hand, but let him, because he had some other questions. And okay. Mhm. No, this is where the data comes in. I mean, we've done this in the past where they've told us, hey, let people know we have a center open, and a center, so somewhere where you can go, or a website. A lot of this stuff is web-based now. When they make these declarations, most people can either go to a physical place and apply, or they can go on the website and apply for the funds. Because what it'll do is, if they make the declaration, it'll be for the whole city. It won't be for just certain areas or something like that. It'll be for the whole county and this whole city. So that's the process. That's why we need your information, so we can make sure that we, the aldermen, or the stakeholders, can make you aware of where to go to, talk to them directly and file your claims.
So stop. So right now we are in the process of gathering information. When and if the FEMA piece come, it'll be a whole different process.
Right.
So right now we're just trying to qualify.
Right.
So right now we're trying to get everything so that we can qualify for the assistance. The first step in that process, which happened today, was Governor Pritzker doing the declaration, which is a very important step in this particular process, because without the governor's declaration, nothing moves. So we've been in conversation with his office, the county board, everybody, about getting this declaration done. And what was needed was the data, which is why everybody's being asked to call in and report their particular data. Now, after that stuff is done and then FEMA comes in, that whole process is going to start, because then you're going to want an individual action, right? You're going to want them to look at your stuff, not your neighbor stuff, but what was happening for you. So that's going to be a separate process that's going to happen. But right now, we are in the process of trying to get all of the data in so that we can present this data along with the governor's declaration to the president, so that then we can get the FEMA relief, because that's what everybody's looking for. Is they're looking for the relief from FEMA that we had back 10 or 15 years ago. That is the process that we're trying to work through, so that we can get exactly what everybody is looking for in that particular respect. Now, the next question was along the lines of businesses. Again, so as far as the businesses, what do the businesses do? Because they are generally not, considered on the 311 side. What do they do as it relates to any damages or water issues that they had?
They can report through 311 as well. There's a question on it that asks if you're a homeowner or a business, they ask you those questions. So businesses are a little bit different in it, but we want the businesses too, because if you experience loss of revenue, or if you were closed for a certain amount of time or are still closed, that helps us make the case for the aid for everybody. So definitely let us know. Put the same 311 request in. There'll be a box in there that says, are you a business? Check that box. And you can, put, like I said, we have a narrative section in there towards the end, and you can put pictures in there as well.
The other question about these particular claims is talking about tenants versus landlords. So homeowners versus residents, or tenants versus landlord. The answer to that question is that both. If you are a tenant, you put something in. If you're the owner, you put something in. So if you just put the claim in. That's all we want to say. Continue to just put the claim in so that we can get what it is that's needed. If you're a tenant or you're a landlord, both parties need to put that particular claim in. All right. The next set of questions, again, are going back to streets and sanitation, or actually the water department, as it relates to more flooding that actually occurred today. Some residents, after this rain event we had additional flooding today. Should those residents call again to report their flooding?
Yes, absolutely. If you flooded today, please do call 311. Please note that. that you're flooded today. You'll see questions on there as to whether you still have water in the basement or not.
Okay, all right. Let's give our mayor a hand. Well, let's do this. I know we can't be here all night, and I know that the mayor does have another item after this, so I do want him to have an opportunity to have that conversation. One good thing that we did say, I asked him if you could just stop by here on the way home, right? Did y'all get that? On the way home, which is not far from here. It's not far from here. So again, I want to welcome our mayor back to the West Side. I shouldn't say welcome you back to the West Side, but welcome here to the People's Church of the Harvest. I know you've been here before, this part of your district before you got here. So again, let's turn it over. Let's hear from our mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you, Alderman. It's good to be with you all. These circumstances are obviously very testing. There we go. Thank you, Alderman. Thank you, Madam President Steele, for being here today. It is obviously a difficult day, though I'm still grateful to see all of you this evening as I make my way back to the Austin neighborhood, which is still the most dynamic neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. But these circumstances are obviously very difficult. Let me just say that as the rain was pouring down, and before I was mayor, I was an organizer, so there are a number of people who have my number, and all of y'all were texting me all day on Sunday, sending me pictures and videos, and I'm okay with that. Look, as the rain was falling, I made sure that the full force of government was deployed to the west side of Chicago, and look, the loss of valuable items, that in many instances will never be recovered. Look, let me just say it like this: basements are as much a part of Chicago as house music. And so that's what, listen, it really pained me, because I know, basements from child cares of centers that are part of basements. People run businesses out of their basements. They do hair. I know my mother, thank God for Jerry curls back in the 80s. It helped our family. So that loss is not lost on me. But let me also just acknowledge, and I'm sure you all are aware of this, we have not seen that type of rainfall in that dramatic way in nearly 40 years. But the truth of the matter is, you all, the earth is speaking to us. And if anybody is in denial of real climate change, then they're not paying attention on purpose. Because as rain was pouring down on the city of Chicago, it was 110 degrees just to the west of us at the same time. And so what I'm ultimately getting at is that the structural challenges that I inherited, that I've been working very hard these last 8 weeks, to undo the structural damage that, quite frankly, for a lot of us, were here well before we were. Now, look, it's ours now. And the other harsh reality is that there has never been a tool of the city that can respond with immediacy for crises like the one we experienced a couple of weeks ago. And so that's why this community meeting is important, because the relief that we're going to work hard to provide, that until we redo the structure and the system that's been put in place, whatever we do today won't necessarily stop what happened 2 weeks ago from happening again. And so that's why we're going to work very hard to create a tool of a rapid response, not just to provide the immediate support, but the long-term structural investments that need to take place to prevent flooding from happening. Now, I promise you the last thing is this. When have you ever seen a crisis in Chicago where you have had water reclamation, the city, and because of your 311 calls, make no mistake about it, your 311 calls provoked the governor to declare a disaster proclamation that's going to help us get the resources that we need. And so you have my full commitment because, as you all know, I'm not just your mayor, I'm your neighbor. And so the West Side has been overlooked for far too long. It has. So much so that they tried to give the brother on the West Side a hard time because I could not pay my water bill on time. So you know I understand the challenges that we have and know that this is not just a community meeting where you all get a chance to vent and to offer your concerns. This is about building long-term sustainable solutions to make sure that the rapid response that we develop in this crisis, that we have this type of response for every crisis, whether it's housing, whether it's education, whether it's public safety, that we have work to do. And in these 8 weeks, I've learned a lot about what it's going to take, but here's what I'm confident in. It's going to take all of us, and we're going to do it together. We're going to repair those damages, and we're going to make sure we create systems of care in place to make sure that our people are taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Thank you much. We appreciate you stopping by here on the way home. Because again, he is definitely our neighbor, and that is one good thing that we can say about having somebody, and again, that understands and knows the community that we're in, because he's in this community with us. So again, I want to thank him for joining us on this evening. Let's give the mayor another hand. The other items that were brought about were along the lines with streets and sanitation and other things. One thing that we must do is clean up. And one question that came about was their basement. Should we wait to clean or should we clean now? We need everybody to clean now so that we can get this stuff out of here. And again, there's also some additional information. So I'm gonna turn that back over to Commissioner Stallard, who is going to go a little further on the cleaning aspect as well as relates to your particular basements.
Again, we ask you to call 311, put it out, because we're not going to stop until it gets done. We're not going to stop. We've been down alleys 3, 4, 5 times. We've had semis out. We have the support of the mayor's office, the mayor, where we're bringing in semis onto the West Side. We're bringing in more semis. We're bringing in heavy equipment. We're not going to stop until it gets done. You have our commitment on that.
All right, so one question was in relation to FEMA. What happens if FEMA does not help? So that's a wide range. That's a valid question. Right now, we're working, again, I was on with representatives from the mayor's office to come up with some ideas on that. We do not have a definite answer on that today. I'm gonna be very honest with you about that. We are working. Our goal is to get the FEMA help. We believe that there's enough damage for that to happen, and that's our goal. If it doesn't happen, we will revisit that, but that is what we're looking to do right now, is get the help from FEMA, because they are the ones that have that particular charge to help cities and states in these particular types of situations. So we will cross that bridge if we get to it, but I do not think that we're going to get to that based on the damage that we're seeing, based on the reports that we're seeing. We just want to encourage everyone possible to make sure that they fill out what we need so that we can all, everybody can get their individual situations taken care of. Now, the mayor's going to be brave today, and he said he's going to answer some questions. So I'm going to go He gonna do about 3 or 4 questions before he got to go home. But again, I'm gonna start right up front. Go ahead. Ma'am, we're gonna get, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Let me tell you something. Everything you all said, I'm not saying it's wrong, but give me some help. I am an old woman. I don't know how to do it. No refrigerator and no freezer. My freezer full and it's all spoiled. Now, who am I going to get to this? Help us.
Thank you. Ma'am, again, the FEMA is not even in the picture right now. We're trying to get the information for FEMA at this particular point. Again, for your particular issue, ma'am, that's afterwards, if we can see someone to help you with that particular item, we will do that after the meeting. Go ahead. Please, if you can call the mayor staff, okay. Again, go ahead.
I hear what you're saying, and I understand the backup. But call a spade a spade. What is the average time frame for this to occur? How long is this to occur? My parents haven't had hot water for a week. They're old. They're elderly. But I'm helping them clean up to the best of their ability. I could do cold water. They can't. So, are we just go pay for it and then get reimbursed? Or what is the realistic time? 30 days?
Okay, Rich Guidance is going to answer that question.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon. And once again, we're truly sorry for what has happened, what transpired by this incredible situation. It sounds like there might be some other issue that is happening that it could be related to the flood, and maybe it's not. Either way, we're committed to helping you and helping the other young lady over there, the 83-year-old young lady in the corner over there. We didn't miss what you said. We grabbed it here. So what I'd like you to do is, if you would, and the alderman's been great, and I think he's initiating a great meeting here tonight. Give him your address. We'll check it out, and we'll follow up with you on that. Okay? All right.
Okay, Reverend Coughlin, we're going to work our way on this side over here. Go ahead, sir.
So I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to answer the question. No, because there's some other people saying it. So if you got an SR number, your complaint was captured in the system. What probably happened is that there was a question in there that asked, do you still have water in your basement? Okay. If you said no, okay, you said yes. Okay. That we'll address that. If you give us your address, we'll address that. But generally, it's like when people say no, there's no water in the basement, sometimes they will cancel those out because that means that there's not an immediate need for somebody to come, to relieve, there's not water sitting there right there. No, you don't need to call back. Like I said, if you got an SR number, your information was captured in the system. We know you were affected, okay? I had this discussion yesterday with some of them over there about the cancellation and stuff like that, because I think it needs a better explanation for the public as well, because people think that their stuff isn't captured. Your information is in the system. Like, you can go right now to the city's website and just put in your address on the 311 website. Anybody can, and it'll show your SR number. So that lets you know that we have your information. No, sir, you're good. We got your pictures and everything. That it didn't go anywhere. If you got that SR number, we have it.
Okay, we're gonna have time. We got 8 o'clock cut off. We're gonna have total. I got you. We got you. We got time for about another 3 or 4 questions. So go ahead, lady with the red hair. Okay.
I can answer that, Alderman. I can start with that. So, as Mayor Johnson said when he came in here, ma'am, and to everybody in the room here, the whole city of Chicago has an eye on the west side of Chicago right now. We are committed to fulfilling this process until it's done. There's 2.8 million people in the city of Chicago. State of Illinois declared a declaration because of the numbers that we were able to populate pretty much from the west side of Chicago. We got it. I think we had 78,000 calls that came to the 311 system that week. 12,800 of them were storm related, primarily on the west side of Chicago. We know that. We got the numbers. We have the data. The process began on July 2nd at 8 o'clock in the morning when the mayor called me and said we were getting some calls of water on the street on the west side. That's where he had me go to on July 2nd. And we were out there again, walking the alleys, looking in people's basements on July 3rd. So the meeting at some point will end at some point today. Don't think for a second that you're going to go home and this is going to be forgotten, or that nobody's going to be rolling up their sleeves to continue to work hard from this catastrophic emergency. We can all guarantee you that. That's why the mayor has us here tonight.
Okay, the lady in the red over there, we're gonna go to her and then we'll come over here.
Good evening.
So before you leave, please come up so we can get your information and work with your particular prop. You're in a HUD funded unit that's supported by either CHA or the state. There will be some relief or some assistance that can be worked out with your particular landlord or with the housing agency that's covering the place that you are in. So please come up before you leave so that we can get that information. We're gonna go over to this side over here. I had the lady over here. Okay. Sir, you're not alone. A lot of people have lost a lot. Sir, a lot of people have lost things, and that's why we're going through the process. Understand, everybody, you're not alone. You are not alone. Lots of people have lost things, and that's why everybody is here, because we're trying to get some assistance. We understand it, and we apologize for what has transpired, brother, but we understand. We understand what you're trying to figure out, brother. We're going to have the assistance that's going to come about. But again, we understand that you're frustrated, but we're all going to work through this together in one particular point in time. We're going to work through this one particular place in time. We understand, because a lot of people in the same boat that you're in, brother, and we're going to work through that. You want to answer? Go ahead.
You know, sir, we can appreciate your anger and being upset about that. We understand it. That's why we're here. Like I said before, folks, just when this meeting is over, don't think that it's going to end. The hard work will continue. That's what Khalil Muhammad from OEMC stated. The process is already in process. We are working closely with the state and FEMA. We're not going to leave you behind here, folks.
Ma'am, you had your hand up. Go ahead. Sir, go ahead. Please, let's say that again. 311 app. The 311 app is where you can do that, or you could call 311 yourself, or you can do SHOT 311 is the app that you will use. SHOT 311, if you have an Android or Apple phone, are the apps that you can use. But if you're still having trouble, please come up afterwards and we will help you out. Ma'am in the back. Please, let's give her opportunity. Go ahead, ma'am. Very good question. So her point was about being denied from an insurance perspective. Khalil, you want to answer that?
So, whoa, okay, you can hear me now. So for you, you know, and I sympathize with you. The insurance companies, you got to use the right terminology with them, unfortunately, because they try to do things. But the Illinois Department of Insurance has a complaint process. If you think your insurance company is not living up to the terms of your policy, you can go to the Illinois Department of Insurance website. You can start a complaint, and they will assign somebody to figure out your situation in particular and get in contact with the insurance company and try to work something out. But Illinois Department of Insurance does have a way to try to assist you if you think that you're covered. You know, yeah, I would go to their website, Illinois Department of Insurance. Yeah, and we'll still, if there's a shortfall or something like that, these other funds, hopefully that come across that can help. But, your insurance company needs to live up to its agreements. They do. Illinois Department of Insurance, go on their website. They have a whole process and a whole FAQ and everything.
All right, I got one question in the back over there. After that, there's not a press event. I'm sorry, but we got the question. All right, go ahead. No. Lady in the back's got a hand up. All right, the landlord can't make you move, so they can't use this as an opportunity to try to evict you out of your apartment. So they cannot make you move. And if somebody's trying to force you out of your apartment, please reach out to either our office or call 311, and someone from the Department of Housing can help you through that process. This should not be used as an opportunity to force anyone out of their home because there's a maintenance issue or because there is there's flooding or damage. Your landlord has a responsibility to fix any damage and not use this as an opportunity to evict you, raise your rent, or do anything of that nature. So don't allow that to happen. If you're experiencing that, please reach out and we can definitely give you some assistance with that particular item. I got two more questions, and then the mayor said he wants to make a statement, so we go. All right, I'm gonna give you a shot, Isaac.
Hello, sir. Thank you. Those conversations have been had from the mayor on the mayor's end. Right now, as we stated earlier, the SBA loans from FEMA is something that we're going for. We think we've put ourselves in a good position to get those funds. They should come to the city of Chicago. There's 2.8 million people in the city of Chicago the declaration would not be possible without the input from the city of Chicago. That's what we're working on. That's going to be step one. We're pretty confident that we put ourselves in a really good situation because of all the hard work that's been done already. So that's what we're moving for right now.
Okay. Hold on. Oh. Okay. Go ahead. You have your question. Go ahead.
You got to take pictures. I mean, as you take this, as you saw the debris, a lot of people took pictures. Take pictures of things before you throw it out. Take pictures of your alleyway as the stuff's out there. Take the pictures. They're not that heartless, okay? If you got pictures, they'll consider that. They do not want you living in an environment that has mold and things of that nature. Just take pictures, okay? It's on their website. It tells you to clean up. They want you to clean up. They want you to be safe in your home.
Okay, final question. Go ahead before we get turned back to the mayor. Go ahead, ma'am. Speak up. Mold in the building. So the mold in buildings, if you have mold in your building, that is something that needs to be cleaned immediately. If it's in your walls, to clean it immediately, to tear out whatever is molded. Please tear that stuff out because it will cause you more harm. As we've already said, please take pictures of that stuff because that's what's going to document whatever damages that you have. So we all got cell phones. All of them got cameras on them. Use them now to take some pictures of the damage that's in your place. And again, try to get out as much stuff as possible. If you need some assistance, please reach out to us and we can help you find some assistance on getting some things out of your respective basements or other places. I told the mayor we wouldn't hold him long, but I want to give him an opportunity to give a closing statement. We will all be here to answer any additional questions that you have. Again, we've got the water department, OEMC, WaterX, so everybody's here. Please come up after he completes. And then after the mayor finishes, I'm going to ask Pastor Edie to give us a dismissal. And again, appreciate you all coming. We're going to have more information as it becomes available. But again, I want to thank Mayor Johnson for joining us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. And again, I encourage you all to make sure that the questions that you still have, my team in the city of Chicago will remain here to answer those questions. Look, the pain and the frustration that you all are experiencing, it is not lost on me. Believe me, it's not. And I'm not going to act like I have all the answers. I don't know what previous mayors did before me. But one thing that I do know for sure, that I'm here today to demonstrate that my love and my appreciation and conviction for the city of Chicago and the West Side in particular is on full display with the full force of government. Now, the best way in which we're going to get through this is if we lean on one another. Listen, it's the only way we're going to survive and get through this moment, because the truth of the matter is, you all know this, this is not about dampering or demonstrating even more sort of sorrow, but our pain and our frustration. Once we get through this, there are still other issues that I have to address in this city to make it whole. And what I want from you all is, if you can trust our leadership that we have demonstrated in these first 8 weeks, that we will show up for you and that we can build together before the next crisis comes, which quite frankly is going to be me passing a budget to invest in our communities. I'm going to need you all to turn out to make sure that we have a budget that speaks to our values. Our work doesn't end today. And know that on my way home, I live through it, I see it, I experience it every single day. This is my neighborhood. This is our neighborhood. This is our city. And as difficult as this moment is, there is not a challenge that's too big for the people of Chicago to solve together. And you have my commitment. So hang around. Rich is here. John is here. The full force of government is here to make sure that the people of Chicago, and particularly the West Side of Chicago, know that I care for you and am willing to invest in you all. Thank you again, Alderman. Thank you, President Still. And again, I'm here for you all.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. We appreciate you coming out with us this evening. We appreciate your support and appreciate the people that you have here with us this evening. Now, those of you all, we got the first piece of assistance we got from the Red Cross came today. We have some cleanup kits that are here. We gave everybody as they came in. If you got a ticket, we have a limited number of kits. We gave out everything that they brought to us. We're giving it out today. If you have a ticket that you got when you came in, we will have a cleanup kit for you where it'll be over in the corner over here to my left, your right, so that we can help give you something to use if you need something to clean up in your basement or in your particular unit. We've got those tickets and we've got those items here for people to take those. It includes a mop, it includes some cleaning, it includes a bunch of different items. So we're gonna make sure that we get those. So make sure that if you have your ticket, ladies in the back will be able to take care of that for you. Again, we want to thank all of the members of the city of Chicago that have joined with us today. If you have any additional items, please come up to us up here at the table. We will work the best we can to solve your issue. Pastor Edie, come on back this way. If you could dismiss us, and we will continue. Again, to my left, your right are the cleanup kits. And we want to thank Pastor Edie for opening his doors for us. Let's give him a hand for opening his doors this evening for us.
We're going to offer a word of prayer, so I would just steel myself if I was you, because when I pray, God listens. Thank you so very much, Alderman, for your work, and Madam President. We're getting ready to pray. Father, we know that you sit high and you look low. We know, God, that you are very mindful of every circumstance that every home has experienced. God, we want you to open up every door. Help the mayor, help every one of these elected officials, everyone that is involved with the process of bringing remedy to the needs of residents on this west side. We know we're in your hands. No man can pluck us out of your hand. And your Father is greater, and no man can pluck us out of his hand. Meet every need now according to your riches and glory by Christ Jesus. And we thank you for it in Jesus' name. Everybody say, remedy.
Miss Taylor, could you come in and do me a favor, please? All right. Hey, Miss Taylor.